Okay, my name's Jamie Marsh. I'm the Solent Reserves Officer for the Hampshire and Isle of Wight Wildlife Trust. I look after a total of 7 reserves. The biggest and the most important is Farlington Marshes, which is situated in Langston Harbour. My main role is looking after the reserves themselves, so that entails all the practical management. It's quite a varied role. We do lots of different things from day to day, fencing works, tree works, scrub work, managing livestock, survey work. There's no end to the work, sort of remit of work we do. Much of it is focused outdoors, so it's a very outdoors type role. I spend most of my time actually in the field delivering management works and looking after the reserves. Much of my work is trying to enhance the biodiversity of the reserves, to improve the amount of wildlife on the sites. But there's also a heavy remit of engaging with local people, volunteers, working with volunteer teams, corporate teams, and fulfilling the Trust objectives, which is bringing wildlife to the local community, building on that. The Wildlife Trust became involved with the sites that I look after in the early 1960s. So these are some of the oldest reserves that the Trust currently has. And we've been involved since the early days when they were first recognised for their wildlife value, for the bird life they support, and the other areas of interest. Much of the work we do relies on having a sound data set. So the only way we can really get data is to go out in the field and spend lots of time surveying, looking for the species we're interested in, recording that data, and then we use that data to look at how we can manage a site to improve it or to map out population trends. So if things aren't returning year to year or the numbers are reduced, we can then look at factors as to why that is happening. Much work has been done on the birds, particularly in the Langston area with the geese, wildfowl and the waders, and we've got huge data sets. Historically, much of the data we know about Britain's wildlife has come from records from people that were shooting. It sounds ironic, but they used to keep meticulous records of species that they shot, numbers, weather conditions, locations, and this data has proved invaluable in us assessing populations from sort of 100, 200 years ago. Now we've completely changed tacks. We now look at this data in a completely different way and we gather it in a different way. Nowadays, much of our work is based on our survey, so visual observations, but also we do a lot of ringing work as well, where we actually catch birds, ring them, and this can be done in a couple of ways. We either use colour rings, so each bird has a unique combination of colour rings on its legs, or they get an individual numbered tag that is normally recovered if the bird is recaught or if it dies and the ring is found.